There is a hell of a lot of confusion when it comes to Overwatch 2. Players still don't really know what this game actually is. Is it an expansion? Is it Overwatch 2? Is it DLC? Who knows? Well, in this video, let me just try and break this down because the community is having a bit of an issue with it. And honestly, I'm having an issue with this, but we need to look at how we got here. So, if you guys have got TikTok, go and check my TikTok out, right? And follow me. I'm trying to get 10,000 followers, so get over there and check it out. But on there was thousands of comments on a video I put up showing some of the Overwatch 2 changes that we got from the live stream. And now that video got tons of views, tons of comments, but not only just there, the comments you guys are leaving on the YouTube channel, on the live stream reaction stuff I've done, and even just on the official videos from Play Overwatch and all over the place, anywhere that is uploading Overwatch 2 content, people are very confused what this means. So in this video, we're going to take a look at this because it is quite a complex situation. So what is Overwatch 2? Well, these are the features that we know about so far. But remember, Blizzard is kind of evasive when it comes to stuff like what's the business model, when's the launch date, and all of this stuff. All right, so let's just take a look at what we've got. So firstly, we get PvE, which is player versus environment, which basically means co-op story missions. So we get co-op story missions. Now, these are 4-player, lore-heavy, so there should be a bunch of story missions that are highly polished and have cinematic intros and outros and maybe even cinematics inside the missions. Now, I don't mean animated short style cinematics. I mean machinima style in-game engine rendered cinematics, which are awesome. And we've already seen some really good ones so far from Overwatch 2. And if you guys remember, there was an incredible one back in 2017 for the Junkertown map reveal, the Junkrat and Roadhog one. It is incredible. Go and check that out if you haven't watched it. But then, of course, we got none. Obviously, they were working on Overwatch 2, I would imagine, after that. But anyway, I digress. PvE story missions. We also get PvE Talents, which are highly complicated and will allow you to build heroes in a certain way. You want a damage-dealing Reinhardt? You can do that. You want a super tanky Reinhardt? You can do that. There's a lot of different hero trees. We were teased a bunch of these back in BlizzCon Online, or BlizzCon Line as they call it, which I still think is kind of silly, but whatever, back in February. It's a lot. I mean, it looks like a lot. It looks like a lot of complex stuff, a load of different ways to build characters, but we still don't know what the PvE hero leveling system will actually look like. Is this just per mission? Is this per account? Do you level up your Reinhardt in PvE to the point of which maybe it's a level 100 Reinhardt with loads of talents unlocked and you can build him in all kinds of different ways, but you haven't played Winston and he's still level 1? What happens then? Are you able to build Winston up to the level? But like, what? Do all tank heroes, or maybe they get called brawler heroes, we don't even know yet, do they all share the level? So if you're playing Reinhardt, do you share that maximum level if this is what they even go with for unlocking talents to build your character? You see, there's a lot of confusion. I'm really confused, and you know what? That's not really a good sign. Blizzard need to be clear. We also get PvE Hero Missions. Now, these are replayable missions on existing maps. So what this means is there will be an objective on the world map. It would say something like this. Uh-oh, there is a riot in King's Row. Go over there and kill all of the bad Omnics. And it will be a mission where you have to maybe kill 500 Omnics. Or it might be a VIP mission where you have to protect the VIP and maybe they're like an escort sort of thing, and you have to walk through King's Row, making sure they stay alive and get to the end of the map. Or maybe it's a horde survival mode where you're only on, let's say, the 3rd point of King's Row, and you have to defend it from Omnics that are encroaching on the point, and if they actually capture the point, then you lose the mode. Now, these are highly replayable modes, but again, the problem sort of arises in which, what is the hero development system? Are you going to play these hero missions for, like, what, loot boxes? Are loot boxes even still in Overwatch 2? Are you going to play these for XP to level up your character for PvE? Of course, remember, guys, none of this applies to PvP. However, yeah, it's just super, super cloudy. We still don't know what is going on with this stuff, and it's, well, we kind of need to know because this is a major element for Overwatch 2 and a major element to actually get players interested in Overwatch 2 and differentiate it from Overwatch 1. We also know we're going to get a lot of new maps. Now, this is a good thing because this means it's going to help build the Overwatch 2 world. Obviously, there's issues with this because Overwatch itself hasn't had maps or content for so long. All of this has been sort of banked up, I presume, to drop on Overwatch 2 as a massive splurge of loads of content. So what do we know in terms of these maps? Well, we know we're getting Rome, we're getting Monte Carlo, Toronto, Rio, and a bunch of other maps. New York City, there's also an Indian map. There's loads of maps which are going to be added to the game. And this is good. Of course, the issue is, why were these maps not put into Overwatch? And why did content stop on Overwatch? And are you just saving content up for Overwatch 2? Which is probably the case, because they want Overwatch 2 to make a big splash and generate more revenue and bring more players back to the game and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it's still a good thing. We're getting a lot of new maps. We also get a new, what's known as a core game mode. This is push, and by core game mode, I mean it gets added to the competitive rotation. It will also be in quick play as well, I would assume, but however, it will be a competitive map, so it's a new core mode. This is the tug of war style mode, where the payload moves back and forth, essentially, between two teams, and you're trying to push it all the way into their base, but they can push it back to your base. It's a cool mode. Yeah, you know, give us more modes. But the thing as well is, there is apparently another mode which is coming to the game, which we are not sure what this actually is, but it has been teased that other game modes are coming by the developers in the recent PvP live stream. So yeah, we're going to get new modes. And of course, the big elephant in the room, PvP is now 5v5, 1 tank, 2 supports, 2 DPS. That's the way it's going to be. There's a whole host of reasons why they've gone for this, namely reasons like balance, watchability, speed of game, matchmaking, and all kinds of stuff like that. And they are apparently building the new maps to accommodate 5v5 instead of 6v6. Again, this means what's happening to the old maps? Well, Aaron Keller, in a AMA that was actually held with a bunch of content creators, did say that they may go back and alter some of the maps that are existing in the game. Not major reworks, but adding extra little bits of cover, because they found out that in 5v5, you do tend to use cover more because, well, you've got one less tank. So yeah, that's a major change. There will also be extensive hero reworks. Now, this is a result of the 5v5 change. It means all of the tank heroes need reworking. They need more survivability, potentially maybe a little bit more damage as well, because remember, we're trying to make up here for the loss of another tank hero. But I think the primary thing Blizzard are going for is making one tank a bit more tankier, but not really giving them more damage. However, this means, as I said, all the tanks need to be updated. But also, so will a bunch of the supports, because things are going to get really weird when you're only having to heal one tank. And then, of course, DPS. They're going to need changing as well, but probably not as extreme. Also, you throw into this mix the whole idea of role passives. So each class of hero gets a new role passive. Now, this is to help with balancing, but what happens is the tanks generate less ultimate charge when they take damage, and so if you're shooting them, you basically get less ult charge, which I think is a good change. And also, they get knockback resistance, not crowd control resistance, so they're not resistant to stuns, but they are resistant to being knocked back, which could be a huge thing, and again makes the tank feel tankier, so that's pretty good. DPS move faster, and supports get a self-heal. There is as well talk of potentially removing the instant acceleration for characters, and this would probably nerf DPS, but also buff them in a pretty big way if this goes forward. Now, what this is in Overwatch, it's one of the very rare FPS games that when you move forward, you're moving at full speed. You instantly move at the character's full speed, unless you've got a movement ability like Diva's boosters. In a lot of other FPS games, you move and you slowly get faster and you get quicker. Now, what that means is, if you're tracking somebody, say you're a soldier and you're trying to shoot an enemy McCree, the enemy McCree will not instantly be able to rapidly accelerate to his full speed and just basically juke backwards and forwards. He won't be able to do that because he's going to move slower. So it's going to make it easier for you to track him and do damage to him. But that is still something that's in the works, I believe, and it's not confirmed for Overwatch 2 just yet. And in fact, it might not even be in the game. But yeah, extensive hero works is going to be something which just needs to be done. We get a graphical fidelity update. Now, this means the graphics engine, the underlying software that drives Overwatch, is being upgraded. Now, it is still the Overwatch engine, and I think this is where a lot of the, I don't want to say frustration, but confusion comes from. Overwatch 2 looks like Overwatch 1 but with a slap of paint on it, right? Or you've slapped paint on it. You've basically spruced it up. It doesn't look radically different. It isn't massively increased graphics. If you compare this to other FPS games, I think Battlefield is a really good example. If you look at Battlefield, let's say Battlefield 2, then you go to Battlefield 3. Oh my God, the graphics difference there, it's like generational. It's huge. It's just massively different. Overwatch, though, is kind of just a bit better. And it does look a bit better when you compare the graphics together. Like if you look at new Torb versus old Torb, well, new Torb looks a bit more detailed. And yeah, that's great. New Mercy looks a bit more detailed. New Winston and Reinhardt, they're a bit more detailed. The maps, they're a bit more detailed, but it's not going to blow you away. That's the thing. But there are other concerns here, or should I say considerations that Blizzard have got when it comes to graphics engines. Look at the other games Blizzard make. They all have pretty mediocre graphics engines. Now, I don't mean that as in they're terribly designed and they look bad, because Blizzard's games always look very stylized. The artists are awesome, the environment designers and everything. They make good, but they build good stuff, right? It looks really good. But it's not exactly cutting edge. And the reason for that is they want this to be playable on as many computers as possible. Games consoles as well, even though the modern ones like the PS5 and the Series X, obviously they're super powerful, so they can just play with it. You can probably play with like some insane next-gen graphics or whatever. But yeah, the reason for keeping the graphics engine sort of not overly taxing is so you have a larger player base. And this leads us on to the new hero updated looks. All of the heroes are being upgraded for Overwatch 2. And again, I think this is one of the issues with people being super confused, because they still look the same. They just look a bit more modern. It's like, here's Mercy. She is still the same. Here's Torb. Pretty much still the same. But by the way, Torb's got an amazing shader on his beard, so it looks more realistic. Okay, it doesn't look like a massive upgrade. It's not completely different. It's not... like, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not hating on this. I actually think this is pretty good that they're doing this, because the game does need updating in certain ways. But again, it looks very similar to existing Overwatch. And I think that's where a lot of this real confusion comes from. Brand new audio system. Now, this one was a bit weird, because I think the actual audio sound effects and the music in Overwatch is incredible as is. It's one of the best features of the game. So to upgrade that as well, I mean, well, that's going above and beyond. But yeah, we've got a completely new audio system. Apparently features new technology. They're going to be able to position sounds in the world better. They're going to sound higher fidelity and all of that stuff. Yeah, this is good, but again, it's not really a headline leading feature. So what do we get to keep in Overwatch 2 if we play Overwatch 1? Well, according to the website, we get to keep your collections. Your accomplishments and loot collections will be carried forward to Overwatch 2. That means you'll keep your skins, player icons, sprays, emotes, and more. You will notice there that crucially, account level is not part of that. You may possibly lose the level of your account, but retain everything else. So all of your competitive season records, all of the account records like matches played and all of that stuff, but you might actually lose the level of your account in a kind of way, because we know they are updating the portrait system for Overwatch 2 as well. New maps and heroes. So current Overwatch players will battle side by side with Overwatch 2 players in PvP multiplayer. They'll also be able to play Overwatch 2 heroes and maps. Yep, okay. We get access to all of the heroes. We get access to all of the maps if we just have Overwatch. So you don't actually need to buy Overwatch 2. That's if this stays the same. And that's the really weird thing again. Because why would you care if they're saying to you, the game you're playing right now, well, yeah, like you can just carry on playing it with all the Overwatch 2 stuff when Overwatch 2 comes out. So if that's all you play, then you don't actually need to do anything. You're just going to get it. Again, this makes it feel like it's a free upgrade, like it's just a patch, like it's Overwatch 1.5, like it's a remastering almost of Overwatch. But you know what? This comes from a very genuine place. This comes from the idea of not wanting to just cut off Overwatch 1. But in a weird way, this does a lot of damage. I think it does more damage than good. From a consumer point of view, this is great because you get to keep everything. If you've got Overwatch now, and you can buy Overwatch super cheap right now, you can still play Overwatch 2 multiplayer when that comes out. Great. Like, that's awesome. That's fine. That's amazing. That's really, really good. But the problem for the player base becomes, is this a major mismanagement issue? Because why? You don't really feel like it's new. Whereas if they just said Overwatch 1 will end on this date and it finishes, right? And the date is when Overwatch 2 comes out, then Overwatch 2 is where we go forward. Everyone's got a clean slate. We're all going for it. But this was Blizzard, and I believe the management of the Overwatch team at the time saying, you know what? We want our players to come first. We don't want them to be punished by pretty much predatory monetization systems. Look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty comes out every single year, and you lose everything from the previous year. None of that is kept. Warzone is probably going to be a little bit different going forward, but the actual Call of Duty games themselves, you have to go through the multiplayer every single time to get the prestiges and all of that stuff. It completely resets, and Blizzard didn't want to do that for Overwatch. So there's pros and cons here, but I think when you step back, and it kind of sounds ridiculous that I'm saying this, it's probably more of a con than a pro, because like it doesn't feel like you're getting something new. You get what I'm saying? That's if you only play the PvP. Of course, if you want PvE, yeah, this is a completely different ball game, right? But then that gives you another issue, right? Of it just feels like plug-in content. It doesn't feel like a brand new game. It feels like, yes, I would like to buy the PvE module and stick it into my game. That becomes DLC, which is downloadable content, and it doesn't feel like a sequel. It is I think probably in the future, people and everybody, gamers around the world, will look back at the Overwatch 2 announcement and be completely baffled the way it was handled. I just hope that the launch isn't bad, and I hope the game does well, like I really do, because I think they've still got a great game there. So this brings us all the way back round to the start of the video. Why are people confused? I think there is a lot of confusion. It feels like the actual launch of Overwatch was basically early access. And again, I think this is another issue with the way Overwatch 2 was announced. Overwatch 2 looks like Overwatch, and it pretty much is Overwatch. I mean, if you ignore 5v5, PvP, and 6v6, apart from that, it looks largely the same. Will this wow people back? Is it really Overwatch 2? Does it look more like Overwatch expansion, just with new player modes, new graphics and audio fidelity, and new models, and yeah, a new hero, sure, but like new heroes are added or were added to Overwatch on a fairly regular basis anyway, until they stopped because they were working on Overwatch 2. I think when you really get down to this, it is a case of timing is all wrong with the announcement of Overwatch 2. Whether that was a decision by higher ups and not the Overwatch team, I don't think we'll ever know. The most recent live stream, again, there is a timing issue with this, but it's a case of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. The audience want news about Overwatch 2. They feel as if Overwatch 1 is stagnating, but what we're given is news about radical changes to Overwatch 2, which affect Overwatch because the PvP is shared, and then we're not given a release date. That's not great, because this raises issues of, if I've got 6 friends that play together, well, one of us can't play in the games anymore, so why should we carry on playing Overwatch? Maybe you enjoyed duo tanking, well, you can't do that anymore, so why continue playing Overwatch? Very weird. We have no launch date. We also have no idea on the business model. Is multiplayer going free to play? Is the Overwatch 2 PvE packs that you buy for each mission? Do you just pay one-off fee, pretty much like Overwatch when it came out, and get access to Overwatch 2? Will that sustain the game long term? Will Overwatch 2 sell battle passes? We don't know. We literally do not know. And that is a problem. So what does Blizzard do next? Because it's all well and good sitting here saying we've got all these issues, there's a bunch of confusion. How does Blizzard fix this? Well, I think what they need to do is be very clear, and they need to provide a launch date. They need to provide an insight into the business model. And I'm sure Blizzard can make a very nice video showing this off when, of course, they decided it, because we don't know if they actually know this at the moment. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do and they just don't want to say. Maybe they do or they don't, because they literally don't, because they haven't worked it out yet. What they probably need to do is, going forward, try and show things off that the community are really looking forward to, and also add things into Overwatch. Now, there must be systems that they've got available that can be added to Overwatch. Aaron Keller did tease that there is a new huge feature coming to Overwatch fairly soon. Well, I hope that's sooner rather than later, you know? Because I don't think we can just carry on with all these tidbits of seemingly random information showing off the various state of Overwatch 2 development, because the game looks to be in a fairly decent position, but there are a lot of glaring issues when you go back and watch the gameplay footage that you guys have been seeing in the background of this video from the most recent stream. Things like, well, Zarya still doesn't have her updated visuals, neither does Batiste, neither does actually, wait, most of the characters still don't have their updated visuals. It all looks like bits and pieces all over the place. They're showing us maps like Toronto that have been, well, pretty much known about for, well, nearly 2 years now, I think. Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on there which make it seem really weird. I don't know, guys. All right, I'm going to leave this video at that. I don't want this to be like a doomsayer video on Overwatch 2. I honestly believe when they do launch the game in whatever form it is, it will do really well. The question is, will it have longevity? The question is, will it bring back you guys who are playing Overwatch right now? And I think it will, because firstly, you're going to want to see what the new heroes are. You're going to want to see how your main now looks because they've updated the design. And you're going to want to check out the PvE missions. You're absolutely going to want to do that. And you're probably going to want to play the new 5v5 just to see what it's like and play the new gameplay mode. So maybe you do come back and play Overwatch. But what about long term? There is a catalogue of failures with the management of Overwatch in terms of its content production, keeping players engaged. You know, I look around quite frequently at the whole Overwatch content creator ecosystem, whether that's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube. And there is one very clear thing. Everybody is starved for content. And that's a problem, because when the fans of the game get starved for content, everybody else who makes stuff based on the game, they also get starved for content. And it creates a massive sort of community of people going, where is the content in this game? So I truly hope that when Overwatch 2 does come out, they have constant new updates coming to the game and stuff just to keep people interested in what they've made. Because at its very core, Overwatch is a great game to play. There is no other game like this when it comes to first-person, hero-based, team-based, objective-based multiplayer shooters. All right, guys, I've been Stardosa. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed putting this together. And yeah, do like the video. Leave a comment below on what you think about Overwatch 2. Be honest as well. And yeah, we'll see what happens, eh? All right, guys, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. Toodaloo.